right, guys, there was a state of play from Sony this past week. I think it's safe to say that after the Xbox showcase, the Nintendo Direct, my expectations were at least like, give me something mid. Give me like a mid state of play where I can be somewhat excited. And I wasn't excited by, let me look at the list here.
Yeah.
I just saw one of the titles you wrote in there. That was really funny.
There we go.
Damn
I
it.
wasn't
What did you do,
excited by
Tim? What'd you do?
anything. Let me be very clear. Nothing new got me pumped up. There's
Right.
stuff that's already announced, like the Resident Evil 4 stuff, Suicide Squad. Like, I think those things look cool. They continue to look cool. But
Yeah,
I just don't care about any of this stuff. So they already told us what it's going to be: VR and Suicide Squad, but then a few other indie games we'll talk about. So
they should have. Do you feel like they should have, even though PSVR 2 was launching? Do you feel like maybe they should have opened with Suicide Squad? Maybe that would have changed people's feelings on it.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Well, here's the thing, though. They again, and this happens every fucking time, and these morons on the internet, like, they specified it was going to be predominantly Suicide Squad and predominantly VR with sprinkling in.
People are hating on Suicide Squad, so that's also
no, but
to the hate.
But sure, but what I'm saying,
obnoxious.
So before that on Twitter, I saw people making posts like, "So what does everyone anticipate?" And you see all these morons like Spider-Man, Final Fantasy 6. It's like, are you guys that dense? Like,
no, but they did say, Dan, to be fair, they did say hot new indie titles. So I'm thinking like we're gonna get some kind of major, at least smaller studio.
Get a hot new indie title.
Yeah, what was it?
Chia or whatever the hell.
Which was previously announced.
It was, but now
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they didn't deliver on what they promised. In
I mean, it's the most anticipated game of 2023, guys.
It is.
I'm basically.
Why are we downplaying this?
I'm using this as a platform to yell at all the morons on the internet that always just throw out the biggest. It's like, if they're saying it's predominantly these two things, why are they going to sandwich Spider-Man?
Well, that
2?
even happens with directs, like with Nintendo. Like I will see in my trending, the ones that are the trending topics that are catered to me, I'll see like the biggest Nintendo titles you could imagine trending.
Yes.
And I'll click on it and it'll be like, oh, this is what they're showing at the direct. I'm like, guys, they're not showing Metroid Prime 4. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Chill, pump the brakes.
Although I do think with what appears to be great sales for Metroid Prime Remastered, I wonder if they'll start like prioritizing that internally more. But who knows?
Maybe. I hope so.
They did the sizzle reel for a bunch of VR2 games, stuff that it launched with, like Horizon and Gran Turismo and more. And then they showed a few new VR2, I think they're new VR2 games. The Foglands, which actually did look kind of cool. It looked like a really dark, like Fable-esque kind of a adventure fantasy game. Green Hell VR version, a game called Synapse, which did look pretty cool. That's the people who made Frack. What was that game called? I think it was called Frack. That was another VR game.
Frackety Frack.
Journey to Foundation and Before Your Eyes.
I gotta give a shout out to both those latter two. Journey to Foundation. That's cool that they're putting that in a game because I know that book is like beloved. Like that, I think there's a series of books by Isaac, whatever his last name is.
Wasn't it called Foundation? Was the first?
It is. It was called Foundation. They made a show out of it and stuff. It's very dense, like sci-fi, like just very dense. It's cool that they're making a game out of it. And Before Your Eyes, I talked about last year before that, right? 2021.
Yeah.
And that's the game that uses your eyes as your controller, basically. And I think the VR mapping is interesting because they can map your eyes better. Yep. So your eyes can actually be your controller and looking around the room. Whereas with your webcam, it was really just blinking that you were doing. So that's kind of cool that it's coming out for VR. It's a great game. Yeah. It's a great story. Let me put it that way. It's a great story.
Yeah, and it's a very creative concept. I got to give them that.
Definitely.
Got a new trailer for Destiny 2 Lightfall, which of course is still coming out. Chia, the most anticipated, like we talked about, coming out March 21st. Humanity, which is from the folks who did Resogun, that's coming out in May. And that's
there's a demo out now too.
That's where you're like a little glowing doggy who's like leading dumb people.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the Resogun devs. Yeah, that looked wild. That looked pretty wacky.
Yeah, there's a demo out, and I went to download it, and then it said nothing but like VR things when I went to download it. And I was like, "Oh, this is a VR game," and they didn't tell us.
I don't think it is.
Huh? It was really weird.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, there's a VR mode. It's not just VR.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I just it immediately turned me off for some reason. I was just like, I don't want to play a VR game in non-VR. That's just
Resogun turned me off, so you lost me.
Listen, Colin Moriarty said that was the best video game on PS4.
That was actually what I was gonna say. I bet you Colin creamed his pants. He's like, "Oh my god,
Resogun!" For years, he kept saying it. For years,
dude. I like that guy, but when he's dumb, he's dumb. Like,
big
when
time.
he's ridiculous, he's ridiculous.
Yeah, like some of his statements back in the day about the Vita, how it was going to stomp out the 3DS or whatever, was still some of my favorite stuff to look back at. Sorry, it didn't do that. Goodbye Volcano High coming out in June, which I didn't even know what kind of game this was. I thought it was just a narrative adventure game, but it's like an adventure rhythm game. So
Yeah.
there's like
Cool. That's really awesome. I can't
Oh my
wait.
god, so good. Just wait until we talk about Theater Rhythm. You're gonna.
Oh, that
man,
game's
you're
actually
gonna
really
lose
good.
it.
All right.
Yeah, y'all notice I went silent when you guys were like, Theater Rhythm is the best game I've ever played. I'm like, I'm just gonna not be a negative Nancy.
Listen, but
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
stay out of
It
this.
involves Final Fantasy music, so let's not,
I know that you actually didn't read anything we said because of your summary right there. There was something with Naruto. Let's keep going here.
All right, no, hold on. First of all, the audacity, because it's just Ninja Storm, Tim. It's not Asian words. Like, it's Ninja Storm. That's all it is. Just Ninja Storm.
I don't even know you're
Naruto
talking about
something
Ninja Storm.
something. Let's move on.
It's a collection of the Ninja Storm games. But
Oh,
Tim
nobody
read
cares.
something.
Did
like
you
it was
see the
like-
title? The title was so long. So and it was like,
it's
if they were
just
going to
Ninja
add
Storm
this, if they were going to
collection.
add that, and I was like, I'm not going to add any of that. I'm just going to leave
How
it.
about I just go Naruto, etc.
God damn it.
God, you guys, everybody on this show is turning into the Atomic Heart protagonist right now.
Atomic douche.
I'm not reading the rest of this name. Why
Blah,
didn't you
blah,
tell
blah,
me
too
that
many
ahead
words.
of time?
God damn
There's
it.
no words there. Actually, I'm turning into Bill O'Reilly. What does it mean to play us out?
Oh my gosh, that's one of the best clips ever. We'll do it live.
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
The thing sucks.
Fuck it.
What does that mean to play us out?
And tomorrow we have like it's just so good. Dude, he just turns it on right away. Oh man.
Oh man.
What a professional.
All right, Baldur's
He was
Gate
a
3 we talked about already, coming on August 31st. Wayfinder kind of looks like this MMO. At least I think they said MMO. Kind of had a Dauntless vibe. You played Dauntless, looks like that a little bit.
Oh.
A beta
checked out when they
a beta coming out next or this coming week. Actually, there should be a beta for that.
Yeah, I think they already announced that though before.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Street Fighter 6, they announced Cammy, and I think it's is it Balrog?
Cammy or
No, Zangief.
Zangief, thank you, Zangief. That game is still slated for June 2nd. And
I still want to see less fighting and more of the open world, whatever the hell they were kind of
the
alluding to.
less they show that, Jeff, the more I'm like, that's going to be a very small mode. Like,
Dude,
that's not
this game,
bummer.
this game looks so slick though. Like, holy
It does. Yeah, the fighting does look
I'm,
great.
art
gonna, I'm actually
art
gonna
style's
buy
cool.
like the $100 version of that game.
Jeez.
Nice.
I'm gonna go all out on that one.
Yeah. This is one of those times, and I know some of you feel this way with other genres. This is one of those times when I'm like, yeah, I wish I was into fighting games because this style does look really cool.
I'm
I mean,
usually
I'm
not.
not
for
really
me, yeah.
into them anymore, but the only one I really get into is Mortal Kombat. But Mortal
Yes.
Kombat is the only franchise that has absolutely nailed the ability to create a single player story mode that's worth going through. It's like going through a campaign, and it's fun. They make it fun. So
That's fair.
I'm hoping Street Fighter will do something like that
They
too.
showed a little bit
I'm
of
with you.
Resident Evil 4, which continues to look amazing. There's a Mercenaries mode, a demo coming soon. Like Dan said, kind of a mean tease. Like either shadow drop it or don't say it, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Demo mode's coming
Should
soon.
have just dropped it there at the show. That could have been your shadow drop.
It would have been that would have been something actually.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Other than they
Um,
only offered a humanity demo, and that was it from the whole show. Yeah, it's interesting.
And then, what do you guys think? If you watched it, what do you think of the extended look at Suicide Squad from Rocksteady?
I feel like the only person that has positive thoughts about it, not among here, but just like the internet in general, like is everybody's crapping on it as a live service game. But as I told Kyle in our chat, like when we were discussing it, I refuse to treat this game like people treated Gotham Knights, because I almost bought into the Gotham Knights hate a little bit, and then I played it and I was like, this is hella fun. What's the problem?
Does
Yeah.
Gotham Knights have to stay
I'm
online?
getting the same feeling from Suicide Squad of like people are just hating it because they see live service elements in it, even though they're not there. They're not actually in the game. They just don't want to do gear management, and that's it. But
I
like,
don't think Gotham Knights has the online always.
Yeah, because they're
requirement.
saying
You're
that
right,
this
right.
does.
you're
Listen,
right. And
that
they
doesn't
are saying
actually
that.
bother me. I just kind of
Right.
scratch my head at
I
it.
would actually have to check because I think you do have to be online even to play single player.
On
Right.
Gotham
Knights?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't
I would
remember
have to
honestly.
check.
But the
I
point
just-
is like I refuse to treat another Batman property
I understand
aligned
that.
with Rocksteady and WB
Yeah.
games like that, because I know that once we get hands on, we're gonna be like, dude, this is fun. Like
So
it looks
the last
fun.
two
Like,
the last two superhero games that had some negativity based on certain previews were Guardians of the Galaxy and Gotham Knights. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy ended up being generally loved by a lot of people, got great reviews.
Definitely.
Gotham Knights just got overly hated for whatever dumb reasons. I enjoyed both of those games tremendously. And so I'm not ruling this one out as being great. I just didn't find the extended look to be anything that made me go, okay, now you've taken me from being, I was like at a 7 of excitement. Now I'm at an 8 or a 9. Like I'm still like, yeah, it looks like I expected it to look. It looks fun. And it looks slick, and it looks good.
I already know. Well, I will love it.
It doesn't
I don't
look
need to be sold on it.
Yeah, it didn't move the needle, but that's not negative. It didn't make me all of a sudden say, no, I don't want to play this. So
I think it's just almost like a jarring shift, because it's like we had all those Batman games that were a very specific style, and also you're focusing on one character, right? Like it's Batman mainly, and he plays a certain way, and that world felt like a certain way. And this feels a little jarring, right? Because it's like the gameplay looks way more frenetic, and you're jumping around and.
Well, that was what you're saying was what I found to be hilarious and unlocked. Somebody was bitching about this game, and they were like, Batman had stealth, and it was. I'm like, because they're different fucking characters, you moron.
Right.
Exactly.
Why would you just even assume that these 4 unstealthed characters would be like?
You want Shark to do stealth?
Like
Shark doing stealth would be amazing.
People did bring up a great criticism that I found really funny about like King Shark using a gun in the game, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a fair point. He doesn't really use a gun in the comics or anything. He's a freaking shark. He just needs his head.
Yeah.
So yes, good point there. But like, it's doing a Crackdown thing that I think looks really fun. So I don't.
Yeah, well, that's why
the Crackdown comparison. That's good.
That's why I was saying jarring, though, because it's like it's jarring for a moment, but it's like this looks like a fun video game,
right?
Yeah.
As its own separate thing. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as jarring as the Evil Within folks making Hi-Fi Rush, but it is jarring.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
just
it's true.
One of the things, like I actually was telling a couple of guys that were bitching about, like they don't like the video game, like video gamers anymore, and they're gamers, but they're like, we don't like gamers anymore because all they do is complain. I said, one of the things that I like about our show is it's 5 different people, 5 different personalities, but for the most part, we're very positive. Like, yes, I complained about Atomic Heart, but it's actually
it deserves it.
Already come out and it's deserved it.
Yeah.
But when games are not even out yet, this is not a show that sits there and bitches and makes up like dramatic stories to get attention. Like,
right.
That's what I can't stand is like, just let this game come out. Don't try to say what it is before it's come out. Don't try to be like, well, it's not like their old stuff. Well, it's not like their old stuff because they're not making a Batman game. It's a different characters. It's going to be different. Let it be. Then once all the details are out, if you don't like it or you don't want to buy it, then don't buy it. You don't have to announce it and try to get everybody on your shit wagon to hate on something, and I just see it too much. And
but they think their opinions are so important, Derek. Their opinions.
Well, it's gonna happen again with this
and I
game.
saw the same exact thing with Hogwarts, and this is not about whatever the controversy is with the creator of the books. It's not about that. I'm talking about with gamers crapping on the game itself. Yeah. And then like they would search out reviews that were, particularly negative that confirm their bias, and they were like, see. It's bad, so they're just going to do the same.
That's what Bill Burr says we do. He says we go to imright.com and say, "See."
Yes. Yeah, exactly. They're going to do the same thing with Suicide Squad. It's just gamers online, at least, and for those of us that are always, I mean, it sounds like all of us are the same version of connected always to the internet and people's dumb takes. So like, people are just going to do the same thing. And
it's just gotten really good at like ignoring it. Meaning, I'm talking about it here. But
me too. I used to reply, but
like
now,
Tim probably saw me in Beyond. I used to fight with everybody. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't like this guy? I'm coming for you.
There were times when Derek would engage with people, and I wanted to be like Mr. Incredible when little Incrediboy was around. I'd be like, I'm not affiliated with him. I'm not affiliated with him.
I don't know who this person is.
Yeah,
it's just so absurd how like we as nerds were like being a nerd was like a bad word when we were kids, right? And you know, getting bullied and all that, and now like all these dumb nerds bullying other nerds but just also anyone, because it's
having
like
fun. Those type
like
of guys.
just a bunch of morons. Just like we're all savages. Like we're all just savage.
You know, the problem with that too is that it creates a vibe that if you are trying to like have an intelligent conversation that might include criticism of something, people get super defensive super fast. They don't want to hear what you're saying. You're like, well, I'm actually not trying to be a jerk. I'm just like pointing out I don't like their marketing plan or how they're talking about it, or like the preview we saw. Like you can't even do that now because so many people are just way over the top. You get kind of like I've been put in this bucket before. If I say something, someone will be like, oh, here we go again. Like the whole crowd is just the whole internet's all negative. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm just okay. All right. I can't make any kind of observation. Right. So that's another negative of it, is that it's hard to have intelligent conversations about it outside of this podcast.
You could just leave that sentence at it's hard to have intelligent conversations. That's it.
Thanks to the internet.
It really is.
Thanks, internet.